Tuesday evening. You're standing inside a gas station. You just finished a 10-hour shift and don't feel like cooking. So you grab a bag of chips and a drink. Eating out isn't something you can afford. This has been going on for months now. January rent went up again. Your car desperately needs new brake pads. $400 you don't have. So you just press the pedal harder and pray nothing goes wrong. Your checking account has $263. It's the 19th of the month. Every purchase is a mental calculation. Chips, $4.29. Drink, $2.19. You can still cover it. Ballet. The lottery jackpot has climbed to $400 million. You don't normally play. You tell yourself it's a tax on people who are bad at math. But tonight something rises in your chest. Not hope exactly. Something more desperate than hope. Like drowning and watching someone throw you a rope that's clearly too short, yet you reach for it anyway. You hand over $2 and tell the cashier to give you a quick pick. The ticket prints. He doesn't look up. No one in the gas station notices you. You are invisible in the way that only people without money ever are. You fold the ticket into your wallet, tucking it between a gas receipt and an old gift card that's probably empty by now. Then you put the whole thing out of your mind. You go back to the apartment your landlord refuses to repair. You sink into the couch, eat chips, and watch a show you've already seen twice. Because you've canceled every streaming service except one, you fall asleep with the TV on. The ticket sits in your wallet on the kitchen counter all night, not yet knowing what it means. Neither do you. 2 days later, you're on the couch scrolling your phone and you see the winning numbers. You check your ticket. You look at the screen. You check the ticket again. Your hands start shaking. Your vision narrows to a single corridor of text. All 6 numbers match. You don't scream. You don't jump up. You sit perfectly still for a long time. Your brain is doing something it has never done before, trying to process a number so large it has no reference point. $412 million. You say it out loud. It sounds fake, like something from a movie. You are holding a piece of paper worth 10,000 years of your current salary. That night you don't sleep. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, running calculations that feel like they belong to someone else. You tuck the ticket inside a book on your shelf. Then you move it to a Ziploc bag in the freezer. Then you take it out and put it in the glove box. Then you bring it back inside. You've developed a sudden terror of losing a thin slip of paper, something you've never once worried about before. Lawyer 1, the lawyer. The next morning you call in sick. You search online for what to do when you win the lottery. The first result says, hire a lawyer before you do anything else. The second says, don't tell anyone. The third is a list of lottery winners who went bankrupt, were murdered, or took their own lives. You close the tap. You sit in your kitchen. You are a millionaire and you are afraid to leave your own home. You find a lawyer downtown, not your cousin who handles property closings, not the one from the billboard on the highway. You need someone who specializes in high-value estates, trusts, and asset protection. His office is on the 22nd floor of a building you've never been in. His retainer is $600. 2 weeks ago, that number would have made you dizzy. Now it means nothing. You sign the engagement agreement. He begins explaining concepts you've never heard of: revocable trusts, irrevocable trusts, LLC structures, confidentiality trusts, charitable remainder trusts, family limited partnerships. He draws diagrams on a whiteboard. You nod along, pretending to follow. You understand maybe 30% of it. What you do understand is this: if you walk into the lottery claims office as yourself, your life will collapse. In most states, your name becomes public record. Reporters will camp outside your door. Strangers will show up. People you haven't spoken to in 15 years will resurface. Your lawyer sets up a trust. The trust claims the prize. Your name stays out of the news for now. Layer 2, the taxes. You go to the lottery commission office together. The building is ordinary. Drop ceilings, government carpet. The woman behind the counter scans your ticket. Her expression doesn't change. She's seen this before. You fill out 2 hours of paperwork. You choose the lump sum. Almost everyone does. $412 million becomes $206 million after the lump sum discount. Then the federal government takes 37%. Then the state takes 6 to 8%, depending on where you live. Your $412 million is now approximately $118 million. Your lawyer had already explained this. You still feel robbed. You have become the kind of person who is upset about only having $118 million. It took less than a week. Layer 3, the money arrives, the funds land in your account. You see the number on the screen. It doesn't look real. It looks like a typo, like someone accidentally added extra zeros, but it's there, and then everyone finds out. You had told 3 people, your mother, your brother, and your closest friend. You told them not to say a word. Your mother told her sister told her church group, your brother told his wife posted something vague on social media about blessings and abundance, practically a press release. Your best friend said nothing. You will remember that. Your phone starts ringing from numbers you don't recognize. People you haven't spoken to since high school. A cousin you've met once at a funeral. An ex from 7 years ago. A coworker's husband with a great business opportunity he loved to discuss. Every single one of them wants something. None of them say so directly. They say congratulations. They say they're so happy for you. They say you deserve this. Then they pause and wait for you to offer first. Some don't even wait. They come right out with it. Can you help me pay off my student loans? Can you cover my mom's medical bills? Can you invest in my restaurants? Can you buy me a car? The requests are endless. Some are heartbreaking. Some are shameless. All of them carry the same unspoken assumption. You owe the world something because the world gave you this money. You start screening calls. You change your number. You stop going to places you used to go because every interaction now has an undercurrent of money. One Friday night you walk into your old bar and the bartender who used to joke around with you acts differently. Too warm, too careful, like you're no longer a regular but a guest. The men by the pool table look at you differently. You can read the calculation in their eyes. You leave early. You never go back. The mail is worse. Strangers send handwritten letters. A woman whose son needs a kidney transplant the insurance won't cover. A man whose house burned down who just needs $30,000 to start over. A church you've never attended mailing a building fund brochure with a handwritten note. God has placed you in a position to help. You read every letter because you can't stop yourself. Each one is a small wound. You feel guilty throwing them away. You feel suffocated keeping them. There is no right response. You are the same person you were 3 months ago, and no one believes that, including, some days, you. Layer 4, the spending you buy a house. Not what you actually need. What you used to lie awake at 2 in the morning fantasizing about when you were broke. 6 bedrooms. 5 bathrooms, a pool, a 3-car garage, a kitchen bigger than your old apartment. You walk through it and your footsteps echo. It's too quiet, too empty. You will never use the formal dining room. You will never need the guest suite. What you bought is a monument to a fantasy you had when you couldn't afford anything. Now you can afford it and it's just a building. You buy a Mercedes for yourself, a pickup truck, because you always wanted one. An SUV for your mother. You shop at stores where a single jacket costs more than your old monthly rent. Watches, electronics, furniture, art that someone told you was a good investment and that you know nothing about. You fly first class for the first time. The seat goes flat. The flight attendants call you by name. You eat steak at 35,000 feet while drinking champagne that costs more per bottle than your old car payment. A black car is waiting when you land. You check into a hotel where a regular room is $800 a night and a suite is $3,000. You take the suite. You eat at restaurants that don't print prices on the menu because people who go to those restaurants don't ask. Spending feels righteous. You spent 15 years doing work that broke your body and dulled your mind. You've earned this. That's what you tell yourself. The problem is that deserved spending and compulsive spending feel identical. The dopamine hit from a $200,000 car lasts about 3 days. Then it's just a car. Then you want the next thing. Each purchase delivers a little less satisfaction than the last. The spending doesn't stop. The bar just rises. Your financial advisor will later have a name for this: lifestyle inflation. Your expenses expand to meet your wealth, and then they surpass it. You're not there yet, but the trajectory is set. Layer 5. The investments. Your lawyer refers you to a wealth management firm. These are people whose entire job is handling money. They wear expensive suits. They talk about portfolio diversification, asset allocation, and risk-adjusted returns. They show you charts. They recommend a mix: index funds, bonds, real estate, alternative investments. They tell you that if you invest conservatively and spend modestly, your $118 million can generate $4 to $5 million a year in passive income. Forever. You would never have to work again. Your children would never have to work. Your grandchildren either. You listen. You nod. You follow some of their advice. But then your brother-in-law pitches you on a restaurant. Your college roommate wants you to fund his tech startup. A man you met at a party claims he's developing beachfront property in Costa Rica with incredible returns. You invest in all of them. You invest because saying yes is easier than saying no. You invest because when the person asking makes you feel important, it fills something that simply having money can't fill. The restaurant closes in 14 months. The tech startup never ships a product. The Costa Rica deal turns out to be a low-grade scam. You lose $3.2 million on investments that any professional would have rejected in 5 minutes. Your wealth manager warned you. You didn't listen. You used to think that having money meant understanding money. Those are completely different things. You learn this lesson the same way most lottery winners do, slowly, expensively, and too late. Layer 6. The giving. You start giving. At first it feels good. You pay off your mother's mortgage. You set up an education fund for your nieces and nephews. You donate to the children's hospital in your hometown. You write checks to charities whose missions you believe in. The money feels like it has purpose. It feels like it means something. The local paper runs a story about your generosity. People start calling you a blessing. The requests multiply. Within a month, your name is on every charity mailing list in the region. Your calendar fills with galas, dinners, and fundraisers. Organizations you've never heard of send you proposals. You attend a black tie dinner and sit next to a woman who runs a homeless shelter. She says she needs $200,000 to get through the winter. You write the check that same night. Why the next morning, 3 other organizations have reached out? Word travels fast. Strangers write to you with stories you cannot sleep through. A single mother with cancer, a homeless veteran, a teenage boy who needs surgery his family can't afford. Every story is real. Every need is genuine. And you have the power to help. That is the most crushing part. You actually can. So you do. You keep giving. You give until helping starts to feel like an obligation. You give until the wordless joy of it is replaced by the guilt of not giving enough. You give until you understand something no one told you. There is more suffering in the world than any amount of money can fix. Trying to absorb it all will drain you emotionally before it drains you financially. You hire a foundation director to manage the donations. You build a process, an application, a review committee. It becomes more efficient and more distant. You go from signing checks yourself to running a bureaucracy. Layer 7. The isolation. 3 years in. You live behind a gate. You drive cars with tinted windows that separate you from everything outside. You eat at private clubs where the membership fee exceeds most people's annual salaries. Your social circle has narrowed to a small cluster of people who are either wealthy themselves or are paid by you. Your financial advisor, your lawyer, your accountant, your personal assistant, your trainer. These are the people who answer when you call. You trust them because you pay them. You're not sure you trust anyone you don't pay anymore. Your old friends are gone. Not all at once. They drifted. You picked up every dinner tab, every trip, every round of drinks. They let you, because splitting the bill with a millionaire feels awkward. Then it became awkward just being around you. The money created a distance neither of you knew how to close. You didn't change. They didn't change. The money changed the space between you. Your brother stops calling. You gave him $500,000 to start a business and it failed. He blames you for not giving more, says if you'd put in a little more it would have worked. You say you gave him $500,000. You're both right. You're both hurt. Neither of you wants to talk about it. You try dating. It's different now. You meet someone and your first instinct is to wonder whether they know about the money. You take a woman to dinner and she orders the most expensive thing on the menu and you can't tell if she just happens to want it or if she's testing you. You date someone for 3 weeks who seems genuine until her roommate mentions your net worth over brunch and you realize she knew the whole time. You stop dating. You tell yourself it's by choice. You start seeing a therapist at $400 a session? Worth it. You sit in her office and talk about loneliness with the woman you pay to listen. She won't judge you. She can't. That's what you're paying for. One day you realize that where your life used to be full of relationships, it is now full of services and transactions. Everything in your life has a price tag, even the things that shouldn't. Layer 8. The paranoia. Someone tries to sue you. A man claims he slipped on your driveway at a party you hosted. He wants $2 million. The case is frivolous. Your lawyer defeats it. It costs you $80,000 in legal fees and 6 months of anxiety. 2 months later, someone else sues you. A business partner from one of your failed investments who claims he's owed a larger share. The case takes a year. You settle for $400,000 because going to trial would cost more. Your lawyer tells you this is normal for people in your position. Wealthy individuals are targets for litigation. There's an entire industry built around it. Lawyers who specifically look for rich defendants and structure cases where settling is cheaper than defending. You are now permanently on that list. You will be sued again. It's not a question of whether, it's a question of when and how much. You install security cameras throughout your property, motion sensors, a reinforced front door. You hire a security consultant who walks through your home and identifies vulnerabilities you never considered, first floor windows, a gap in the fence line, your predictable daily routine. He recommends a full-time guard. You hesitate, then hire one. Now there is a stranger standing in your driveway for 12 hours a day, protecting you from other strangers. You start receiving threats. Most are vague, emails from people claiming to know where you live. One letter has no return address and describes your car and your morning schedule in detail. Your security consultant says most of these threats are harmless. Part of what that ticket bought you is the need to look over your shoulder every time you walk to your car. Layer 9. The reckoning. 5 years after the win, you sit down with your wealth manager for an annual review. Your $118 million is now $41 million. You stare at the number and ask him to repeat it. $41 million. You spent $77 million in 5 years. Real estate, vehicles, failed investments, lawsuits, gifts, donations, staff, and a lifestyle whose monthly cost would bankrupt most small businesses. He pulls up a projection. At this rate, you'll burn through your remaining liquid assets in 4 years. You don't believe it. The number is still too large to feel like it could disappear. 41 million is a fortune. Most people will never see a fraction of that in their lifetime. But you're still spending like someone with 118 million. The habits have calcified. The house carries a mortgage and property taxes. The cars need insurance and maintenance. The staff expect salaries. The foundation has made commitments. The monthly cost of your lifestyle is enough to bankrupt a small business. You try to cut back. You sell the vacation home at a loss. The market shifted. You let the security guard go. You cancel the personal assistant, but the main house won't move. You're underwater on it. You bought at the peak. The value has dropped, and you owe more than it's worth. Your accountant tells you that a real estate deal from 2 years ago has tax exposure. Structured incorrectly, you owe the IRS $2.8 million in back taxes, plus penalties and interest. You had no idea. You trusted the people you hired. They either didn't know or didn't tell you. You fire your accountant and hire a new one who finds more problems. The foundation has compliance issues, improperly allocated funds, potential triggers for an audit. Every layer you peel back reveals another layer of rot. You built a financial kingdom on ignorance and trust. Both are now crumbling. The people around you begin to leave, not all at once. Your wealth manager moves to another firm and sends a polite email. Your lawyer transfers you to a junior partner because your account no longer justifies his hourly rate. Your personal trainer stops returning your calls. The people who stayed because of the salary are leaving because the salary has become uncertain. You watch the new structure dismantle itself piece by piece. There is nothing underneath it. Layer 10. The ghost. 8 years since the win. The money is gone. Not mostly gone, entirely gone. The last of it went to the IRS, legal settlements, and the debt accumulated trying to maintain a lifestyle you could no longer afford. You sell the house at a loss. You sell the cars. You sell the watches, the art, the furniture, everything bought with joy, sold in desperation. Watching numbers fall feels nothing like watching them rise. Now you rent an apartment smaller than the one you had before you won. You drive a car with 90,000 miles on it. You work at a distribution warehouse, the first place that called you back. You stand on concrete for 9 hours a day sorting packages. Your back hurts. Your knees hurt. You're doing the same kind of work you were doing before you won, except now you're 42 instead of 35, and your body knows the difference. Your coworkers don't know about the money. You don't bring it up. When people at the warehouse talk about the lottery, daydreaming about what they'd do if they won, you stay quiet. You just keep sorting packages. Your mother's house is paid off. That's the one thing you don't regret, but the way she looks at you has changed. She watched you rise and fall inside of a decade. She watched you become someone she didn't recognize, then watched you become someone she recognized but couldn't help. She loves you. She worries about you in a way she never did before. Before the money, you were struggling but stable. Now she can see something behind your eyes, a tiredness that sleep doesn't touch. Your brother doesn't speak to you. The $500,000 you gave him wasn't enough, and then the money ran out and you had nothing more to give. He told your mother you were selfish. You heard it secondhand. It sits in your chest like a stone. You gave away millions. You gave until your hands were empty, and your own brother's word for you is selfish. Your best friend, the one who never told anyone, still picks up the phone. He's the only one. He never mentions what happened, never has. On Sundays you sit in his living room and watch football and it almost feels normal. Almost, but there's always a gap. He owns his home. He has a retirement account. He has the kind of life that accumulates slowly through steady work and careful decisions. You had that trajectory once. The ticket knocked you off it. You have never found your way back. You owe the IRS $340,000 in remaining penalties, which you're paying off in installments. Every tax season you approach it with the wariness of someone who has been burned. Your credit score is in the low 500s. You can't get a credit card, can't finance a car, can't rent a decent apartment without a cosigner. Your financial situation is worse than it was before you won. Before the win, you had $23,000 in debt and a job that could cover it. Now you have 6 figures of debt and a job that barely covers rent. You went from poor to wealthy to poor again. The second time is worse, because you know what you lost. The first time you were poor, you didn't know any better. This time you know exactly what first class feels like. You know what it's like to walk into a restaurant and not look at prices. You know what it feels like to have people return your calls within minutes. That knowledge is its own punishment. You cannot forget what money felt like. You can only live without it while remembering. You drive past that gas station sometimes. The one where you bought the ticket. It looks exactly the same. Same fluorescent lights. Same rack of lottery tickets behind the counter. You watch people walk in, buy their tickets, fold that small spark of hope into their wallets, and walk back out. You want to say something to them. You want to run in and grab them by the shoulders and say something true. But what would you say? Don't buy it. They won't listen. Be careful what you wish for. They'll laugh at you. You'd sound like a lunatic. A broke man in an old car telling strangers not to hope for wealth. They'd look at you with pity. And the worst part is, you deserve it. The truth is there are no words that could prepare them for what's coming. Because the money is the easy part. Money is simple. What's complicated is everything money does to the world around you. No one warned you about that. The way it reprices every relationship. The way it replaces trust with transaction. The way it gives you everything you ever wanted and takes away things you didn't even know you needed. And then when the money leaves, it leaves you standing in the rubble of a life you helped destroy, holding a receipt. Right now, somewhere, someone is standing at a gas station counter. They're handing over $2. They're imagining a house, a car, freedom, picturing their mother's face when they tell her. They're dreaming of a life with no more worry. They have no idea what they're really wishing for. They have no idea that what they're holding is not a gift. It's a fuse, and everything it touches will eventually burn. They'll understand. They always do. The cycle repeats.